Yes.
This meeting is being recorded.
This is the May 19th, 2022 meeting of the St. Lawrence County Industrial Development Agency. I will turn the floor over to Chairman Brian Staples.
Call the meeting to order of the St. Lawrence County Industrial Development Agency. Roll call.
Mr. Staples,
Here.
Mr. LaBatte,
Here.
Mr. Blevins, Mr. Hall,
Here.
Mr. McMahon,
Here.
Mr. Morrow, Mr. Reagan.
Do we have a quorum?
Good.
Yes, we do.
Public notice was issued timely, May 16th, 2022. Is there any public comment? There being no public comment, do I hear a motion for approval of minutes of the March 29, 2022 meeting?
So move.
Do I hear a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no negative votes, it passes unanimously. Motion to accept the financial report, January, February, March of 2022. Do I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Any discussion?
Kim, do you have a summary?
We have January, February, and March financials in your packet. You'll note in January that the first quarter county revenue was received. You will also note that there will be a monthly entry to the gain and loss on investment column where that adjusts it to present market value. You'll see that every month. Just keep in mind at maturity, you will have a gain. You have February. In February, we did receive project fees from the EDF solar projects, Royal and Ruler. In March, we received an application fee from LF Bioenergy. Other than that, it's your typical monthly expenditures reported on each month. I also have a loan summary sheet here that you are familiar with. I just wanted to let you know we're in good standing and everything is on track for repayment as far as your receivables.
That's for the IDA leases. There's a similar one for the IDA LDC loans. And that's.
Is there any further presentation of the financial reports?
So
All
move.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There being no negative votes, it passes unanimously. Reports of committees. Are there any reports of committees?
There are none.
Staff report. Patrick
Just
Kelly.
The John Pinkerton, board member Jim Reagan and I did a tour of the Riverview Correctional Facility in Ogdensburg on May 10th. Jim and I are members of the Community Advisory Board, and DOCS is trying to get a little better understanding in the minds of stakeholders about what the incarceration facilities look like and how they operate. So they're taking a small number of invited individuals on guided tours of the facility. We have a resolution supporting the continued operation of Riverview and Gouverneur Correctional Facilities in the packet today. It was a very interesting tour, and a number of legislators joined us as well, and community stakeholders. The Rochester Regional Health Bond was issued. That was the multi-jurisdictional financing that we participated in with Monroe and Genesee counties for the St. Lawrence Health System. That was our portion of that project. That moved very quickly. There was a great deal of coordination and cooperation between the IDAs, the county, and the hospital system. We've been contacted by St. Lawrence University. We expect a bond application coming from them. That will go through the Civic Development Corporation, but I wanted to make sure you're aware that's coming. The current renewable energy bond that we issued 15 years or so ago was paid off this year. They did a refinancing and are taking advantage of this rate environment. That happened in the last couple of weeks. We have about 5 or 6 solar projects that you have approved that are lining up to be for closing with us. We're doing an RFP for lawn care services and opening at 1 o'clock today. That is for the 100 Patterson Street building in Ogdensburg. We also are working on some of the final pieces of the rehabilitation project that we've been, the phase that we were doing before winter set in. We may have some change orders and some additional work and hopefully some tenant work that will need to be done in the coming months. The Messina DRI, we did propose a project which is the transformation of the former Messina School of Business site into courtyard and transitional space that connects the downtown corridor with the proposed Riverwalk areas while preserving the historic School of Business facade. So if you see coverage about that project, I believe is moving in the right direction to be recommended for inclusion, hopefully in their final project submissions to New York State. We had a BOCES Business Connection event. We had our 3rd one. This one was in Fowler, a good community turnout. We are also still active with a number of workforce endeavors. Lori was at Fort Drum yesterday at a job event. We're having discussions with the BOCES system and the local schools, again, trying to find ways to connect job opportunities with potential workers. We're doing some TV advertising, online advertising in the Canadian markets. I'm trying to emphasize the reopening of the border and that this part of the world is open for business, both from a visitor's perspective naturally, but also in terms of business investment and job creation. The county ARPA funding, the stimulus funding that we have been talking with the county about, they have passed a resolution allocating approximately $4 million to be administered by the IDA of the $20 million or so of ARPA funding they received. We had a meeting with the ARPA committee of the county earlier this week where we talked about the process and the structure. What we have proposed is we will bring to them a categorized plan of the types of initiatives and programming that we would fund through the 3 million or so that is unallocated. Of the 4 million, they, for lack of a better term, they earmarked or directed about 1 million of it. There's a remaining 3 million that they want to see go toward tourism and economic development. And what we're going to propose to them is a broad plan with the categories of where the funding will go. Likely not, the granularity of specific applicants who would receive money, but more how the money would be targeted. And that they are happy with that. I will be in front of their finance committee in June with a proposal. Board member Jim Reagan is obviously involved in the process. I have had some conversations as well with others on the board, including Chairman Staples. And we've talked about putting a working group of IDA board members together to work with us at the staff level so that what we propose is something everybody is going to ultimately have input and supportive of. I think, Mr. Staples, we had talked about asking Mark Hall and Andy McMahon if they would be willing to.
That's correct. I think it'd be a good working group, and it gives us essentially 2 different areas of the county that are involved in all of the ideas that the county may have for the money.
And Andy and Mark, I mean, assuming there's a willingness on your part to work with us, we'll reach out to you and talk more detail about how we're going to try to put something together and the kind of ideas we're looking at. Obviously, we're looking at the comprehensive economic development strategy, the ARPA guidelines, trying to find ways to take this funding, which I see as a once in a lifetime infusion, and finding ways to leverage it, to have it be meaningful, have it be lasting, have it create jobs, build the tax base, bring revenues into the county and help county firms, organizations, businesses that have been impacted by COVID to continue to thrive and succeed.
I think this is, excuse me for interrupting, but I think this is a critical time for this money within the economy of the United States and particularly our county. This is a very, very important project for these two fellows.
Perfect.
Patrick,
I
Yes,
think you picked two good people for it.
Patrick,
yes, Jim.
I just, for historical purposes, we've come a long way from when the county was cutting all the IDA's money to a day when the county is giving $3 million to the IDA and asking them to appropriate it. So I worked very hard on the ARPA committee to convince them that rather than create a pork barrel fest among the county legislature, to instead give the money to the IDA and have them find ways to spur the economy, create jobs, help get people back to work. And I think it's a testament to all of you and to the efforts that, the IDA has made, that the board was willing to give up a degree of control over the money and ask us to make, sift through requests. And I want to commend Patrick and John Pinkerton. We met with the legislators. I think it was yesterday, wasn't it, Patrick? Tuesday. And Patrick was refereeing our discussion with one of the legislators who was having difficulty giving up control, and we were able to strike. Patrick came up with a reasonable compromise to in which he was developing categories for the legislature to approve of, and then we would be able to do our work without too much interference. So,
Jim?
yes.
As I understand it, they're not giving us the money. They are asking us for ideas to use the money in particular ways that will aid the county. I don't believe they're putting the money in our coffers. Is that correct?
Patrick, I'll defer to you.
Yeah, I think as a result of the discussions Tuesday and the compromise Jim's highlighting, it's going to be the county's money that the IDA will receive and administer on the county's behalf. I think the tracking, the auditing will fall upon us because it will come to us. And then what we're committing to is staying within these categories. So if we say, $500,000 will be used for workforce development and training initiatives, as long as that doesn't change, then they will approve the allocation, the categories, and then that will be for us to then implement.
Very good. Thank you for clarifying.
And plus, there were some projects that Patrick and John and the staff had proposed at the very beginning. And aside from the $3 million, we got some of those approved as part of the county's million that were earmarked. So for example, almost $300,000 is going to go to training the people for the CDL licenses. Couple $100,000 is going to go for workforce development for to train people to do open childcare centers. So, you know, in addition to the 3 million, the IDA was also instrumental in getting another $500,000 set aside for economic development projects that I think will have direct impacts on our communities.
I think we should move on at this time. Is that okay with you, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Brian, that's it for well, the other issue is we continue to work on the Governor Park property. We have the option in place. Andy Silver has been provided an actual, you know, the follow-on purchase and sale agreement. There are some final work we're doing on those details, but we expect that to move forward as well. The developer is doing their due diligence and is moving forward with trying to get their permitting in place. Rich, anything more we need to, is there anything we need of an ask on that? Or I think we're set to go forward with signing that.
I think the last resolution addressed that, giving you the authority to sign it.
Just to let you know, I think, you know, the intent was, you know, we'd approve the sale. Andy Silver, you know, pending his review of the documents and still have the same terms in place of they have a year with some extension capability of moving forward and getting what they need in hand in order to go forward with the actual acquisition of the property. That is it for your staff report.
Thank you. There being no old business, let's move to new business. We have 4 resolutions to deal with. Resolution authorizing a contract for exterior lighting. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second. Would you discuss that, Patrick?
Yeah, obviously, this building is at a point where we're looking at the kinds of improvements we can do that are not only beneficial for the property itself, but also more efficient, more effective, more environmentally friendly. This is for the exterior lighting in the parking lot. We reached out to National Grid and are taking advantage of one of their programs to help us. You'll see there's a cost reduction, which is the lights themselves, which are the type of lighting. They are high efficiency.
They're LED parking lot lightings for pole mounts. So the 10 pole mount light fixtures that we have now, this is to provide new poles through the contractor. The lighting heads were actually provided by National Grid as the incentive to move forward with this. So there's a savings, I think, of $5,800 that should be attached to your resolution. But that's their effort to get us to cut energy use and come into modern life.
And I commend Rich sought out these different ways of getting us more, not only cost effective, but environmentally friendly means for lighting the parking lot. And it's a local company who is the lowest bid. It's a St. Lawrence County company. So we're asking your authorization to go forward.
Move the resolution. Call
Did we
the
have a
question.
motion made in this before I went to the resolution or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? There being none, all in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Do I hear a motion for resolution authorizing the lease of real property located at 100 Patterson Street, Ogdensburg?
So move.
Discussion? Patrick?
So this is within the IDA and affiliated corporations. This is not a final lease to an occupant or an end user. This is a lease. We've talked with Andy Silver. As you know, when we took the property from the city, it is in the possession of the St. Lawrence County Property Development Corporation, which is, as it's named, our property development entity. For the continued work in the building, the investment, the maintenance, the leasing to an end user, pilot incentives, all the things that we bring to the table to get an occupant into the facility and utilizing it, those tools and resources are better manifested within the IDA itself. So this proposal is the PDC will remain as the owner of the building. So the ownership, the liability, that will stay with the Property Development Corporation. However, the IDA will be leasing it from the Property Development Corporation. So the IDA will be able to expend funds. They'll be able to take in revenue from leases and negotiate leases with occupants. This is it's a way of getting the
Essentially, they're going to manage the building.
Yes, under the control of the best of our entities for moving forward.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I make a comment first?
Pardon?
I think that was just interference. I think you have, everybody was in favor.
Passes unanimously. Motion for resolution authorizing the continuation of remote public meetings. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Discussion?
This is
Patrick?
a fairly simple technical resolution. The budget the New York State budget had some changes to the open meetings law attached that will enable us to continue to have what I'll call hybrid remote meetings. So you need to pass a resolution. We need to come up with the policies for how these meetings will work. But essentially, going forward, after I believe June 9th is the cutoff, if we have a quorum of 4 members physically at the meeting site, our meeting, then up to 3 members can join remotely. So that is a change going forward for all public authorities. So we will be able, the having everybody remote will no longer be an option, but if we have 4 physically here, 3 of you would be able to join remotely, subject to the policies and conditions of the remote meeting policy that will be created and posted on our website.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. More in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no negatives, passes unanimously. 4th resolution. I hear a motion for support the continued operation of the New York Correctional Facilities in St. Lawrence County. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. I think there doesn't need to be a lot of discussion.
No, Jim, I highlighted that we did a tour of Riverview. This resolution, there is no proposed prison closures in the budget. However, I think it is good for us to get on the record to our elected officials that we still very much value and appreciate and support the facility in Ogdensburg, the facility in Governor. This resolution lays that out.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, at the next meeting, could we do a resolution asking the mayor of New York City to consider converting the Ogdensburg Correctional Facility, which is currently closed, and Watertown, and using them as facilities to reduce the excess population at Rikers Island. The reason I bring that up is in New York City, Rikers Island, which is their county jail, is badly overcrowded. And they have been talking about building new jails in various communities in New York City, but they are running into the same problem they ran into many years ago, which caused them to build the prisons here in Ogdensburg in the first place, and that is their neighborhoods won't accept prisons in their backyard. And years ago, the problem was such a crisis that they chose to build Riverview Correctional Facility here in Ogdensburg and Cape Vincent in Jefferson County, specifically to house inmates from Rikers Island who'd been sentenced to up to a year in order to reduce the overcrowding. And there's no reason they might want to do that again. And since they're under pressure to appoint a federal master to take over their jail system, you never know. They might be receptive.
I think it's a reasonably good idea, Jim. I think you should discuss it with our director, and we'll proceed accordingly.
Thank you.
Also, you want to send a copy of that resolution to our state representatives.
You're right, Ernie, and the governor.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
We can do that.
Does that finish new business, Mr. Kelly?
That finishes everything for the IDA.
Everything. No need for an executive session?
Correct.
Do I hear a motion for adjourn?
So move.
We're out.
Did you stop?